Welcome to Season 2, Episode 24 of the Bulls REKAP Podcast. I'm Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times. You can obviously read me in the Chicago Sun-Times sports section, all things Bulls. Sometimes I do some video game reviews. And then you can follow me on X, Twitter, mostly Bulls. Sometimes I do some coffee shop reviews. But I'm calling this Reality Wednesday. Not sure when this thing gets released, but I think that this is before this long road trip, before this death march I'm about to go on the West Coast, which really isn't bad cities and really isn't a death march, especially compared to the road trip at the end of the year or at the end of the month. But I feel like with 20 games left, it's time to kind of put some reality into this thing. So when we're talking reality check, we're talking Crime Dog. My guy, Ryan, the Guff Crime Dog.
So reality. The two of us talking reality? Oh, boy.
So here's what I think needs to be looked at. Number one, the standings, the reality of the standings. Giannis is back from Milwaukee. That's great for Bulls fans. Huge for Bulls fans because that tells me that they are still pushing for the play-in, and that's great because they're that team that's kind of right above the Bulls. That to me, that locks the Bulls in at number 9. They're not going to catch Milwaukee most likely, and the thing I like is the Bulls. Milwaukee, I think, has the 9th easiest schedule, and the Bulls have the 10th easiest schedule. So both of them are right down in that beautiful area of how it looks is probably how it's going to stay. So follow me on that, right?
Okay.
The other thing, too, then, is who's right behind the Bulls. You got Memphis, you got Dallas. Here's the problem. Memphis doesn't look like they're in a hurry to put Ja Morant back out there. You know, he's got the elbow thing. They have the 5th toughest schedule remaining. So we're talking opposite ends of the spectrum. I think the Bulls are about a game or 2 from Memphis and maybe 3 or 4 from Dallas in that buffer. Dallas has the 4th toughest schedule left.
Yeah.
Cooper flags out with the midfoot sprain or whatever it is, and they're going to bring him back because they need him to continue doing what he's doing. But they're in no rush to get him back as long as he gets his qualifying 65 games. Although I think Rookie of the Year might work different. I don't know if Rookie of the Year is using the 65 game threshold for voting. It might, but I thought Rookie of the Year was a little different, but maybe not. So really, what can the Bulls do? They're not going to they're not going to sink below Memphis and Dallas. I mean, don't you get that feeling that would be a real hard line to fall under?
Well, just to give people clarity, like the Bulls have a 6-game lead as we tape this on New Orleans. So yeah, that's a huge. I mean, that's New Orleans isn't going anywhere, as we know. And then you go from there. It just the distance gets even further. It's 7 games with the Jazz. It's 9 games. I mean, we're already past. They won too many games, Joe. Remember 5-0 for the first time since the Jordan era. They won too many games, and so this is where. So the ceiling 7, the floor is 9, right?
Yeah, I'd say
maybe 10. I guess maybe 10 with Milwaukee, but I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I think Milwaukee is going to put their foot down as much as they can, and just talent-wise, they're just a little bit better than the Bulls right now because they have one of the top players in the world. So as long as he stays upright and healthy, and his debut against Boston wasn't great, but that's a tough team to throw him in the fire against. And the other thing too, when you look at what Memphis and Dallas and those other and the 6 teams, they're not going to catch those 6. These teams all made up their mind in November. Memphis was a little late to the gate. Maybe you could say when they decided to trade Jackson or saw things were going south with Ja and we're kicking his name in trade. And Dallas, when AD couldn't stay healthy, maybe the Memphis and Dallas was a December decision. The rest of those teams, Indiana, Washington, Brooklyn, Sacramento, they knew in November the path. The problem with the Bulls is they didn't know till after the trade deadline. They went in the trade deadline still adding Anthony Simons and adding these pieces that they thought could kind of, be Band-Aids. And then when you look and you say, okay, well, this is the reality of our front court, you're probably saying, okay, we just can't win games against bigger teams that are just going to engulf us late. So that's the other problem that you brought up is 6 teams knew what they were doing back in November. 2 may have figured it out in December. The Bulls, as usual, late to the party.
Yeah. And once again, in a draft class that's loaded with talent at or near the top. You want as many opportunities to get at or near the top as possible. And for the how many regimes and how many years in a row are we talking about using? Well, it happened with Derrick Rose. I mean, we're still talking about 1.8%. We're still doing that because they got to a point where they were sitting on their hands when the rest of the league, everyone who writes for the league, everyone who plays in the league knew what the Bulls should be doing, and all the fans too. And now we're sitting here going, yeah, lose as many games as possible, but we just gave you all the scenarios that show you it's probably going to get you no more than what, 1% or 2 better chance. You're going to get 2 or 3 more chances at the number 1, but you're going to be stuck right in that 7 through 10 spot, no matter what.
Yeah. So here's who they have left. Here's what concerns me. 20 games left. Sacramento. I think they beat Sacramento next week in Sacramento. Yep. They have 2 with Memphis. I think Memphis will do everything they can to lose both of those games. They have 2 with Washington. Maybe they split because we're in Washington for 3 days, 2 games, both there. Maybe that's a split. But then they finish.
Trae Young's back, right?
Well, if he doesn't get ejected, he got ejected before he actually made his debut. But which is good. I haven't seen that since we had some maniac. We had some maniac on our softball team back in the day when you played out of college, drunk guy Sunday morning softball.
Yeah. Who take the beer to the field with you?
Yeah. Who made his debut with us and never made his debut because he got thrown out of the game before the bottom of the first. Before we,
it wasn't me, was it?
It was not you. No, it was not you. So this reality check Wednesday brought me to the idea of okay, everyone's got this. They are going to use their cap bulliness. And here's the good thing. Here's what people, because of the trades that Washington made in adding salary, here's where the Bulls stand for next season as of right now. And here's what Bulls fans should at least feel a little good about, okay? Considering what it could have been. Okay, right now the Nets have the second lowest payroll for next season, $105 million. Teams like the Cavs, who else is up there? Phoenix is up there. Teams like that. The Cavs are definitely the Knicks. The Cavs and Knicks are over $200 million for next year. The Cavs are in the second apron right now. They're in screwed city. So that's why their window is this year, next year, and then it's going to close drastically. So think about that. The Cavs are going to be about $217 million. As of right now, the Bulls guaranteed salary, $90 million.
Wow.
The next closest team is Brooklyn at $105 million. But this is why Arturas was kind of beating his chest at the trade deadline, because now he can kind of play bully ball with the money he has for restricted free agents. The unrestricted free agent class is not great. You're going to put a bid on LeBron? Come on. What are we doing here?
It's insulting.
Right. So this is why I said it's Realistic Wednesday. I'm going to throw some names out to you and why they're realistic. You give me thumbs up, thumbs down on what you think. Okay. Jalen Duren.
Well, are we doing, you said realistic?
Well, I'm going to tell you why it's not realistic, but Jalen Duren, yes, absolute.
100%.
2 thumbs up. Okay. Here's why it's not realistic. Detroit, their cap next year, I told you Bulls are $90 million. Keep that number in your head. Nets are $105 million. Detroit, $106 million guaranteed for So they got all kind of room. And obviously they have to make decision on Tobias Harris. But it is Cade Cunningham is the MVP candidate. He is the heart of the team. But behind the hustle is the muscle, and that's Jalen Duren. He is going to get paid a max deal. So that's why this idea of, we're going to bid on Jalen Duren. You could play those reindeer games. It's not reality, though. It's not reality. So let me
ask you a question before you go on. Yeah. Would the Bulls would they do that though? Knowing that a team like the Pistons are going to, would you at least do you dip your toes in or no?
I think Detroit is going to give him, because of the bird rights and control over him, is just going to go ahead and reward him for being the guy that he is. So I don't even think the Bulls could get involved in that bidding.
All right, that makes sense.
If they see that the market, and maybe they hear through back channels that Detroit's trying to strong arm Jalen Duren, which they would have no reason to do, because that is the second part of their counterpunch. It's Cade Cunningham and it's him. So I don't even think they get involved in those reindeer games. All right, I'm going to take you to the next guy whose name has been out there. Walker Kessler for Utah would be instant rim protection, would give you that big. And again, it allows Jalen Smith to play the 4. Pretend like we don't know who they're going to get in the draft, because maybe they get a 4 maybe they get lucky and they get Boozer. Okay, but let's pretend as of right now we don't know who that's going to be. Pretend it's going to stick in that number 9 spot. So Walker Kessler comes over. You have instant rim protector. Thumb up for him. Okay.
Double. Like, he's a Vooch type. Like, yes.
Okay. Here's the problem with him. Jazz. So I said Bulls are 90 million, and that's the next team at 105. Jazz are 138 million committed because they acquired JJ from Memphis. The only thing they have to decide is Lowry our 4 and Jackson our 5, meaning Kessler is now, he was going to come off the bench for us, which hasn't been decided yet. They may say, hey, you know what? Lowry's our 3, Jackson's our 4, and Kessler's our 5. Have fun with that length. They can easily do that. That's the interesting one, because you don't know their feelings on Kessler. Are they going to say, no, we do like this dude, we're committed to the dude? That's the unknown. So let's kind of put that, yes, he would help the Bulls, but the reality is that's a kind of a tweener one. You don't know, and that's going to be all Utah decided. Do you put a bid on and try forcing their hand so they can't get away with kind of underbidding on him? Maybe. So I'm going to throw the Pelicans out there, and here's why I'm going to throw the Pelicans out there. The Pelicans are cap screwed, and they traded their pick. So they don't have draft assets, and their cap's going to be $185 million. That's double the Bulls. Do they finally say, we're willing to trade Zion?
I feel like, well, first of all, I'm a thumbs up. You've been talking about Zion for longer than 6 months. I mean, somehow I feel like most podcasts always come back to New Orleans.
Yes.
I'm giving a thumbs up if that's hell yeah, because I'm looking at, since we're doing reality check, I'm looking at what's reality for the Bulls in gathering some type of quote unquote star in the foreseeable future. And right now, I don't see it. You've already bypassed the 2 best drafts in years. I've already looked ahead at 27 and 28 mock drafts. It's just one big question mark after another. And you're looking more like the 28-29 version of, like, and not these particular players, but this particular threesome of DeMar, Zach, and Vooch than you are anything else in the current way that they've allowed themselves to be built. So yes, 2 thumbs up to this idea.
Because that, to me, that's the shortcut to a star. I'm not saying he's a top 10 player. When he plays, this freaking dude, he's 24, 25 points falling out of bed. The problem is he gets hurt when he falls out of bed. And you're not sure whose bed he's falling out of. He's got to clean some stuff up. He's got to clean some stuff up. But that would be your shortcut to a star. And it would also be a long-term commitment to Billy. Like that, because I do look at that and I wonder about that. Like, Billy's role in all this is, if you could, because I think that's the type of guy from accountability standpoint that you talk about with Zion. That's the guy that can connect with him. That's one of the. I'm not saying it's the only piece. You know, he may tune Billy out, and if he does, that'll sort itself out. But part of him being outcasted in New Orleans and saying, dude, we're done with this, is he's got to get a wake-up call too. And if it's going to come from a guy like a Billy Donovan, that's the guy that all of a sudden can turn some heads and ears, or maybe a season from now, you know, in this hypothetical fantasy we're providing, now all of a sudden Chicago doesn't look as bad of a destination. 100%. And the nice thing is Billy has guys he could bring in to help, whether it's Joakim, guys that swear by
Great
Billy,
point.
that can also kind of talk to Zion about, hey, this is where you are in your career now. I'm not saying you're rock bottom, but the team that drafted you and was going to gave you the keys to the city and the keys to the franchise has said no more. And sometimes guys need that kind of smack. Lowry Markkinen, I think, needed it somewhat. I mean, guys kind of need that smack of, what am I? Am I a professional basketball player, or am I just a dude that was drafted into the league and is loving the fortunes that the league has been giving me? So that's why I'm still going to say his name, because to me, that is the cheat code. That is the shortcut to getting a star. Otherwise, you got to get lucky in the draft. You have to get, a lot of things have to go right. And I don't trust this front office enough to make those things go right. It's
100%.
not that they can't go right. It's I don't trust this front office enough to make them go right.
Agreed.
So when I talk about tanking, that the Bulls need to tank, it's not because I think tanking is the only way. I think it's the only way because of this front office. I think people kind of confuse that at times. They go, oh, you believe in tanking is the only way. No, I think with the new CBA, it's probably the most effective way and probably the easiest way, but it's the easiest way when your front office is incompetent.
And they can't even, and they can't even do that right, because they waited so long. So now they're doing it to a point where you can't move the needle at all. Your needle can only go, for those listening on audio only, my finger's only moving about a half an inch each way, because you've trapped yourself with too many wins. That's on them. 100%. That's on them.
Yep. All right. A name that I threw out in the Sun Times, and a name that I am not the first to say it, has picked up steam. Phoenix, Mark Williams. You got your elite shot blocker, your rim roller. You're kind of big in the middle. He's not going to space your floor. I think he'll get used to that kind of up-tempo style, because I think he's athletic enough. But what are we doing there?
I'm kind of like middle on that one. I'm mid. I'm like 50-50.
So here's why this name is out there, and here's why this is reality. Remember, Bulls are at $90 million. The next closest team for next year, Brooklyn at 105. Phoenix is going to be at $179 million. They are apron hell. Okay. And their window is 2 years. It was this year. And next year, Van Fleet comes back, and he has the player option, which he will obviously pick up. So it isn't like they're going to lose him. They still got Durant, Sengun. I mean, they've got dudes there. So, I'm sorry. I'm drifting off into a different team. Phoenix, Booker, cap strap, not going anywhere. I'll get to this next team with Durant and all those boys in a second. They just can't afford Williams, period. And again, they are in the same boat. They cannot shed enough salary for next year. So that one you could actually bid on, and I don't even know if Phoenix could match it. They might just have to say, thanks for playing Mark Williams. That's why that one is the most realistic. And the other one is the team I just brought up, Houston, Tari Eason. I'm double thumbs up on him. And here's why they're in for a rude awakening. They're going to be at $185 million for the names I mentioned. Durant, Van Vliet is going to take the player option. They're double the Bulls' salary for next year, guaranteed. So to me, it comes down to those two names. It's going to come down to the reality of Tari Eason, who will allow you to possibly shop Okoro, because you're going to move Modest to the 3, but Okoro is definitely going to be your bench player. Eason becomes your 4, outside shooter. The problem is then what do you do about the middle? And that's why I say that's why Williams is in play. What do they deem more important? An athletic 4 that can shoot, that allows Modest to move over to the 3, or a rim protecting 5 that now makes Jalen Smith natural 4 and moves Modest to the 3. Those are the two things they're weighing. What say you? Which one do you like better?
So I want to ask the scenario. I think you've already answered it. You can only do one, right? You can't do 2.
It will be very hard to do 2 if they are interested in bringing back Jaden Ivey. Because
are they? What do you think the thing on Ivey is? Like, I'm a little less. I feel less likely to bring him back. I'm not saying they won't, because there'll be a cheaper option.
I think they can get him for the league minimum, because I don't think there's going to be.
Wow.
I mean, the league minimum of which you can bid for the restricted free agent and his years, because I don't think anyone's going to bid on him. So they control that. To me, I would hope that they would do a 2-year, and the second year is a team option. Kind of a, hey, this is about your only offer, and we need to do a look and see on you, because we just don't know.
Okay.
if you're explosive. I would hate if Jay Ivey is in a different building next year and all of a sudden you're seeing 16, 17 a game and the explosion is back. And was it just the mental obstacle, getting over that hurdle, and just physically he just needed more than a year. He needed, 16 months or whatever it's going to play out to be. To me, is that worth 14, 15 million to kind of get a peak? Well, if you're just giving Patrick Williams 18 million for the hell of it, and he's never proven anything that Jaden Ivey has. I'd rather kind of just take that, but I get it. It was concerning to watch him out there.
God.
I mean, he looked like an old man playing alongside me at the YMCA.
So what say you? I have to pick between one or the other. I'm actually more inclined to go big here, I think.
And then so you go Mark Williams. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. After talking
than Eason, but
after talking out these scenarios, even going back to the kid from Utah, but the Eason thing is intriguing. I don't like the games played when I look at Eason.
Yeah, he gets banged up a lot.
Yeah,
he does get banged up a lot.
But
when he plays, though, for a guy that comes off the bench with that team that's got so many dogs in front of him, Durant, guys like that, Thompson. I mean, he's won some games from him off the bench this year, which I like, because I do think he could be a guy that starts and is dropping 20 a night. And now you got
me turned on again.
And Eason 20 a night. So
I'm turned on.
All right.
What do you go? Where are you leaning?
I'm all in on East. All in on Easton first.
Okay.
I just don't know if they'll want to play that game of chicken. And then who else gets involved?
Like a team that's winning, a winning team.
If Detroit says, hey, you know what? We're Tobias, thank you for everything you've done. You've been that vet that have kind of handed it to us, but we're going to up Jalen Duren, and then we're going to go shopping for Eason. I mean, if you're Eason, where would you rather go?
Oh, Detroit.
Yeah.
Give me the parameters for an Eason contract? Like, give me some, just for the people who are watching and listening. Numbers.
That's going to be tough. I would say Eason is probably as good as, and again, Houston can't match any of this, so it really won't matter. I would say Josh Giddey type numbers. I'd say 25 million a year.
Okay.
I think he's in that area. Mark Williams is significantly lower. I mean, not significantly, but he's lower than that. You're shopping. The Mark Williams shelf is a little lower than the Tari Eason. Eason, to me, restricted free agents that are realistic is number one. The obvious restricted free agent that, is Jalen Duren, but it's not happening for the reasons that I kind of told you. Is Detroit has a lot more flexibility than people think. And that's what happens when you tank, get some young guys, do it a couple of years, and then have a feel of, okay, we felt like we missed on this guy, hit on this guy, we can pay this guy. This guy, we could trade him to the Bulls. I mean, so that's how you do this thing. And unfortunately, Josh Giddey said some interesting things after the OKC game. He talked about his time with the Thunder and how quickly they flipped it. And I'm not saying the Bulls are going to be the Thunder by any means, but they can dip their toe in for 1 year and come out next season, because I know this is their mindset. It wouldn't be what I would do. Again, let's preface that. But their mindset is, okay, we'll play this kind of tank game that we're playing since we decided it a month ago for a couple months, but we feel like this is a 1 year thing for us. And we're going to dip into this 26 draft class, and we feel like next year we should at least be a play-in team, possibly shooting for that number 6 seed. I don't think that's the case. I think even if you get a Tari Eason, this roster still has some serious flaws where I see 5 or 6 teams in the East that are undoubtedly better than the Bulls. Best case scenario, undoubtedly better than the Bulls. But I think their mindset, they're going to fool themselves into believing we could dip in for 1 year and we're good.
Last question for you then, because a lot of people we've talked about the front office and long-term and AK on the hot seat. That scenario you just painted to me feels like a desperation attempt. So part of me is going, I don't want I don't want any of these guys because I don't want to tie up $100 million in a guy that this front office won't even see the end of. But if we know he's going to be guaranteed at least one more year because of Jerry not buying out multiple years, you really, again, this is another hamstring that you've caused for yourself.
Well, if they do it this way, where they do dip in, say they get Eason, and they dip in and they get somebody in the draft. Say it's Nate Ament. Okay, I mean a young forward who has a lot of potential. Probably needs a year of coming off the bench and development. I'd say he's ahead of where Noah Senge was, but because he went to college and physically is just built different. But again, it needs another year. And say this team makes play in 7 or 8, I think they get another extension for doing that. I really do. I really do. That if they show that we got Josh Giddey, who is still young, we got Modest, who is obviously still young. We got these two pieces in Noah and Nate that, hey, they're coming. They'll sell them that this is the next wave. Trey Jones is locked in. We went out. We made Houston have to cough up Tari Eason. We have him for the next 4 years, and we think he's a dog. Jalen Smith is proven to be better than his contract originally was. Those are all selling things, and the butts are going to be in the seats. It doesn't take a lot to sell the Bulls. It does not take a lot to sell the ownership that this thing's going in an upward direction. So I think this is, for their mindset, this is probably the best way for them to go and say, look, 3 more years is all we need. All
right. Well, now that I'm going Eason, I'm sitting on my now officially. Who's the best player of the group that you mentioned, not named Zion Williamson, because that's an outlier? It's the guy with the most upside. If this is the plan going forward, is Eason.
There you go. So that's
there you go. You talked me into it.
And out of the two caps that are, of all those names I mentioned, the 2 caps that are in the biggest cap hell for next season,
and that's it.
Pelicans at 185 and Houston at 185.
See, if this were me, like if the Bulls were able to pull off a Zion deal, then that's an extension almost, like right there.
Yeah, I don't know. I may have to go. All right, let's see how it plays out.
Well, yes, but like.
Right. No, I got you.
Assuming that you're going to just give Billy, they've already kind of given Billy the keys, but you're hoping that he can get through to the kid. That's the scenario of all the ones you just laid out here over the past 30 minutes. That's the one I want the most because it comes with the most upside by far. And then Eason's number 2.
Yeah. So there's our reality check Wednesday.
Wow.
Laid out a lot of different things, but the one reality is
this sucks.
10 days, 5 games on the West Coast. Big suitcase for the kid, like back in my baseball days.
Warmer weather.
Good weather. The trip at the end of March, have you looked at that dog-ass trip?
It's not good. It is the least fun. It is not an ideal spring break.
It's Philadelphia. Fine. Love Philly. You know where you're at when you're in Philly. Then the NBA decided, then we're going to fly you west to OKC. Okay.
Just gorgeous.
You're going to spend a couple days there. Then we're going to fly you to Memphis. Don't know why. Maybe you could
have San Antonio, right?
And then down to San Antonio, and you're going to suck it the entire time. That's basically that trip. So
it's like a spring break trip. It's exactly the way you drew it up.
Yes, I cannot wait. That is my spring break trip. So, all right, Crime Dog, thanks for jumping in. We're going to have Cowley Island. We're going to have a list, and then we'll get out of here. So, all right, let's go to the island. Modest Buzelis. You know, it's all in the eye of the beholder. That's what I'm starting to see. Some people think he hasn't developed enough this year. Others think his development is right on the path. Some think he's developed considering, when you actually take into consideration everything, the whole package of coming from G League Ignite, which to me was a clown show of a G League team. And I think if Modest could go back, Modest would say, I'm going to college for a year. I'm not going to go to this clown show. I think bad habits were taught. Losing was taught. It was a kind of roll the ball out mentality. And Modest could deny it all he wants and pretend like G League Ignite was great for him. It was not. So they got a kid who, talent-wise, probably should have been a top 3 pick in that class, but came with some bad habits and came with some question marks. That's why I think he dropped to the Bulls. So to get those habits and break them in a year and a half and have them going in a good direction, a good trajectory, I'm all in on Modest, especially what I've seen from him post-trade deadline. There was a lull because all of a sudden, well, my guys are gone. My Kobe's gone. My Vooch is gone. My mentors are gone. My step-uncles, my older brothers, they are all gone. I think he's gotten over that. I think emotionally it took a little toll on him. And I'm seeing a guy that is starting to not only play better number-wise, but is starting to understand winning plays. That's what I like about this whole thing. So, do I think he is an elite superstar? No. Do I think he could potentially be an elite superstar? That might be tough. I think he could be an all-star, and I think he could be a guy that is ceiling maybe even a little more than that. But I think this has been a great season for him. I love the way Billy Donovan has handled him. I know there's a lot of people coming at him saying it's not been a good year. He hasn't lived up to the hype. If he hasn't lived up to the hype, then that hype was unrealistic because you have to take everything into consideration of where he came from. So good on you, Modest. I think you are headed in a positive direction. Don't compare him to Cooper Flagg. Don't compare him to Con Knipple. Those dudes were better than him in college at that age and are better pros than him right now. That doesn't mean he can't kind of run them down just because of his skill set and athleticism. So I'm just saying it's a successful season soon. Okay, let's go to the list. The Crime Dog brought this up. I'm going to throw out some 27 names. 2027 draft class. Some names that are kind of taking shape. It's a list of 5, but there's a tie. So we're going to go with 6. And these are the American-born people. There are some Euros that are kind of tinkering in that top 5, top 6, just really one specifically. And you don't know how that's going to go. So I'm going to kind of keep this as these are the dudes that you will probably be watching play a college game at this point next season and maybe have a March Madness run. It is not a great class. It is not. It is not 25. It is not 26. Is it better than Modest's class? I think at the top it might be, but I think Modest's class, because everyone was so close, it stretched out and went a little longer and had more depth. So here they are. Let's go. We'll start at the bottom. The 2 guys I'm tied right now. J.J. Andrews, small forward, and Dylan Mingo, 6'5" guard, kind of a combo guard. Keep your eyes on those 2 guys this summer. Summer's when these guys are going to kind of start to separate. The school year is one thing. Summer's when these guys start, whether it's AAU, whatever they're doing, Team USA, whatever they are doing, that's when guys kind of separate. So Jordan Smith Jr., 6'2" guard. I believe he's going to Arkansas, or at least he's already committed to Arkansas. Keep your eye on him. Number 3, Cameron Williams, big guy, probably the only true big guy in this top 5 or 6, 6'11". Believe he's Duke bound. I want to say Duke bound, Duke or Carolina, but I think it's Duke bound. Isn't everybody Duke bound? And then number 2 and number 1, don't know if they're committed yet. Holt may be committed. I'm not sure. Caleb Holt, 6'5" combo guard. Keep your eye on him. And the number 1 guy kind of across the board right now, and I believe I've said his name before, Tyron Stokes, 6'7", athletic forward. He's had a great school year. He's at the beginning of the school year, there was debate on Stokes if he's number 1. I feel like he has kind of cemented himself number 1 right now. And again, summer can change some things. You're talking about 17-year-old kids that can grow, that can have spurts, that can add muscle, they could, work with ex-coach and figure something out, and all of a sudden their game is a little more lethal. But as of right now, I'd say that's my top 5 list, 6 names on it because of the tie at the bottom between Mingo and Andrews. But, hey, we got to start putting those names out there just in case. So, hey, headed to the West Coast. Think we may have a guest next week. Don't want to say who, don't want to ruin surprises. But until then, I got next.